Okay, I've now introduced sociobiology. I now want to introduce something else, and a lot of people are going to boo. It's called the normal curve, and remember at the beginning of my talk I said if you can't talk about these things, how can we solve any problems? So please bear with me, don't boo too harshly. I'm going to use a normal curve, and here are two normal curves. The top one is men. The bottom one, wait, do I have that? The top one is men and the bottom one is women. This is my freehand drawing of it. Here is a real one, an honest, a good, actual bell curve. But what it shows is that, let me put it this way because I think you can illustrate it more easily, that women are God's or nature's or biology's insurance policy. They're all clumped toward the middle, whereas men are God or nature or whoever you believe is responsible for this stuff, crapshoot. The women are all bunched toward the middle, the men are all over the lot. Now, let's look at this end A and B. If you were to go to mental institutions, who would you find in mental institutions? Virtually all men. Namely, at that many standard deviations below the mean, where mental institution types hang out, virtually all men. Oh yeah, there's a few Lizzie Bordens, there might be one or two crazy women, but most of them, pardon to Thomas Oz, my buddy, most people in mental institutions are men. If you look at homeless people, yes, there's a woman who's homeless, but it's virtually all men. If you look in prisons, you go to the prison. My colleague Dan D'Amico is an expert in the economics of prisons. He can attest that virtually all prisoners are men. Oh, there's a few women, but 95, 98% of all inmates are men. If you go to the graveyard, okay, well, there it'll even out. But if you go to the graveyard and look at people who died before their time, say 40 years or younger, all men. Virtually all men, I'm exaggerating. Well, look, if we're going to have a normal curve which is symmetrical, and you have a preponderance of men at A and women at B, well, then you have to have the same preponderance of men at C and women at D. Namely, out there on the right tail. The men also have to outnumber the women. If you look at Nobel Prize winners, except in wussy areas like poetry where they'll give it based on God knows what, the award. But if you look at math or economics or medicine or biology or chemistry or the Fields Medal in math, it's all men. Because when you get into 3 and 4 standard deviations above the mean, there are no women. Virtually. Virtually no women. In chess, grandmasters, it used to be, I follow chess, I play it a little bit. I'm a little bit better than a wood pusher. I have an 1800 rating, which is sort of pathetic, but at least I know the moves. It used to be that out of the 500 top chess grandmasters, there was one woman. Then came the Polgar sisters, P-O-L-G-A-R. These were phenomenal women. There were 3 Hungarian women. And the worst of them was ranked 300, and the next one was ranked 200, and the best one, Judith Polgar, was ranked like 35th, and this was amazing. Because before that, there was never any chess grandmaster. Now, chess doesn't take any upper body strength. But when you're talking 4 standard deviations above the mean, or 3 standard deviations above the mean, you're going to get a Polgar sister every once in a rare while. That's why we have a glass ceiling. Now, there are sociobiological reasons why it has to be this way and it can't be the other way. Suppose it were the other way. Suppose that it was the females that were God's crapshoot and the males were all toward the middle. Well then, the people at B are incapable of bearing children. They're too busy being the long historical equivalents of people being in the jails or in the mental institutions or that. Again, if there were 2 societies equally able in every other way, only one was ours and the other was this other society where the bell curves were inverted, we'd beat them out. That's why we're here, because we beat them out, if ever there were any. This is sociobiological theory. So, again, the fact that, oh, here's one more I forgot to give. I must do this. Here's this thing from USA Today, and it goes 40-0. 5 actresses face down the big 40. This is 3 or 4 years ago. We're talking about Meg Ryan, Susan Sarandon, Julia Roberts, Naomi Watts, Halle Berry, Catherine Zeta-Jones. And what it says is, Nicole, Naomi, Catherine, Halle, and Julia could force Hollywood to grow up. Now, what does this mean? What this means is that when a woman turns 40 or 45, she no longer gets the ingenue roles. She no longer gets the role of sex goddess or whatever. Now she gets the role of mother, right? Or big sister or something like that. Why is this? Is this Hollywood sexism? Let's go back to sociobiology. Suppose that there were 2 societies, one like ours, where you look at a 20-year-old girl and say, whoop-de-doo. Most guys do that. I hate to clue you in, but that's what they do. That's our society. But in this other society, they see a 65-year-old woman, they say, oh, wow, got to get that 65-year-old woman. Oh, here's a 20-year-old, oh, not ripe yet. Now, what prognostication do you people have for such a society? They're not going to have many babies, right? Because getting back to the birds and the bees, when you're over 40, you can't have kids anymore. And societies that revere the sexuality of women that are 50 and 60, look, they look pretty good to me. I'm 67. These women are 45. They look pretty good. But a society based on that will not survive. Our society beat them. Let me give you one more example. There was this case where 2 actors, very, very good-looking actors, but not famous, actors as good-looking as George Clooney, Tom Cruise, and Robert Pattinson. I don't know who these people are, but somebody said that they're the sex role models. On the one hand, and Britney Spears, Paris Hilton, and my favorite, Marilyn Monroe, which dates me a little bit. 2 very good-looking actors, a male actor and a female actor. They were given the same script and let loose on a college campus, and the script was, they would each go up to a member of the opposite sex, and they'd say, hey, I've got this motel room over there. How'd you like to spend 2 hours with me doing what comes naturally? Guess what the results were? The woman got about 98% yeses. The man got 2 or 3. Why is this? Well, sociobiology. Women have only got eggs from age, I don't know, 14 to 38 or so. Times 12 is a couple of hundred eggs. Men have got a lot more sperm than that. Men are much more willing to give them out indiscriminately, to share them because they're cheaper, because you've got a lot more chances at life than women do. Just biology. This sociobiology explains a lot of male-female interactions. It's based on biology. It's not based on capitalism or anything like that. It applies in every culture. I mean, in the communist culture, I'm sure that the 50-year-old women were not the sex goddess.